Alright, good day guys. Welcome back to my the last few days somewhat what's the word for it? Perhaps entertaining but non-productive channel. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I made some progress on the supply, just got to a point where I've made no more. Now, as I said I was going to, all of this burnt stuff, as you can see, I made up all new traces out of bits of copper wire and bits of solder. I reflowed every single connection, including like the big resistor standoffs and stuff like that, up to around about here. I visually inspected all of this stuff here, and there's nothing wrong with it. Which has got me confused because, like I said, as you guys saw in, I can't remember which video, it was working just with, like, I got everything working. The current, we still had a bit of oscillation on the constant current on both sides, but that we can fix. But the thing that was bothering me still was the other side, the voltage was going up too high. Also, the auto tracking is working now, and it's still working, even now. But now, instead of the voltage going up too high on the other side, it only goes up to 16 volts. When I put it into auto tracking, set the ratio on the slave, it tracks with the master all the way up to 30. And then if I turn the ratio up, it keeps going all the way up to 54 like it did before. So, after resoldering everything, I'm starting to think that me pushing on the board was just affecting an oscillation or something. I could be wrong, there could be still something I'm missing. But it's getting weird. And if anyone's wondering, XV is just standing for X voltage. Like, this is the side that's got the problem with the voltage. The I and the U, as explained before, those two are the current op amps for each channel. These are the voltage monitoring op amps for each channel. So I thought, well, what can I do to test? So for starters, that Zener voltage is way too low. It should be 10 volts, remember, and it's 3.3. So, but there again, it's the same on both sides, and that particular Zener diode actually, when all the other Zeners, they form power rails, so there's the Zener's grounded on one end, and there's a resistor coming from a power rail on the other end to the cathode, and then that goes off and powers something. This Zener, its anode goes to a resistor, and its cathode doesn't connect to anything. It actually just connects to one of the riser pins, the board-to-board interconnect pins, and then to this second trace here that goes to the output of the voltage op amp, and also the input to the the voltage side, OR gate. So I'm not sure actually if those two voltages being 3.3 volts is a problem or not. There's a possibility that that Zener is supposed to, how do I say this? The op amps complete the circuit sort of thing with it, and the OR gate, and I guess maybe in certain conditions, because these op amps are sinking current, not sourcing it, you can tell because the cathode's going to the output of the op amp, so it's pulling current in to control stuff. So what I'm thinking is, because the Zener voltage is coming in here too, it can't go back that way. It can only go to the op amp. but it goes to its output, right? So I think it's there to pull this to a certain state under certain conditions. I'm not sure, but they both could be right. I swear to God, one was 10 volts before and one was 3.3, and now they're both 3.3, but maybe I'm wrong because the other channel's still working perfectly fine, and I mean, like, I don't see how that's possible if one of the Zenas had changed voltage, you know? So it's really confusing. So anyway, something I did off camera was I guess when I put it back together, I'll just strip these back and solder them again. They're me going backwards and forwards that many times that the wire will snap eventually, and I'm not going to leave it just hanging on by a thread. Anyway, what I did, I disconnected from the OR gate the current. Right? So now the current op amp, it can't pull anything down. So we should have unlimited current output, basically. That had no effect. Still got 16 volts. So let's disconnect. Disconnects the voltage from the OR gate. Let's see what it does with basically the outputs of those op amps completely disconnected on the slave channel. So again, the master channel will be working, but the slave channel should have no control now. I'm just being very gentle with these boards because I reflowed everything and there's a lot of traces I've had to repair, so don't want to have to keep doing that. Alright, so that's with no current control and no voltage control on the slave. I want to see two things. One, what the output looks like in independent mode. Two, if I put it in series tracking mode, does it still track? Because I'm curious to know if when it's in series tracking mode, basically, does it just run off of the two op amps on the master side and ignore those other op amps altogether? Or are they tied together somehow? Because there's so many different ways of doing these circuits, independent and series tracking. So let's power on. Oh, okay. So with nothing, like I said, that the op amp is sinking current. So this is what I would expect. Oh no. There's no way I actually just did that. Like I said, there's no op amps to pull the current or the voltage down. Ouch. Oh, that's just really hot. Okay. I didn't actually blow it. Wow, good thing I caught that in time. Jesus. Yeah, everything else is cool. I just had my, I think you guys saw what happened. There's nothing to pull the voltage or the current down, right? And I just turned it on with these in the channel that's spitting out 54 volts. Short circuit. Alright, it's back on again. As expected, channel 1 is working. Alright. Channel 2 is just pegged because there's nothing to pull it down. So that tells me something, because you know how it was only going up to 16 volts? I was wondering if some part of the circuitry is like, you know, half a rail to an op amp or something's missing, or half an op amp's power supply inside it, like its current mirrors and sources and that are buggered or something, or half its output state is buggered and that's why it's going to 16 volts only, or if it was something to do with the control op amp. And it's obviously this op amp that pulls it down because I've disconnected it and the voltage is up. Now I'm going to put it into auto tracking mode. Okay, that's very interesting. So in auto tracking mode we get no difference, which means that those op amps that are disconnected are actually doing their job. I just want to quickly see now this resistor's cooled back down, if it's dropped back to 1 ohm. I'm going to replace them anyway. Yeah, it has. Okay, good. Well, that means we're looking for a problem further back. So the fact that the current work, like the op amp that pulls the current up or down is working, and the fact that this for the voltage is working in auto tracking mode but not on its own, tells me it's not these particular op amps. So what I'm saying is whatever they're told to do, they're doing. When it's in auto tracking mode, they're auto tracking. When it's not, they're not. So connect those back. So that means the problem is further back. So then what drives the voltage op amp? See, we still don't know what these two op amps here do. I think I finally worked out what the op amps on the main board do. They drive the panel meters. Because you know how since I've fixed all the voltages up, now these pots, when I adjust them, they adjust the offset on the panel meters. And they connected to these resistors that go to these two op amps. So I'm pretty sure these two op amps are driving the panel meters. And that would make sense why they have their own reference, because they're comparing a voltage or a current against a reference and then spitting out the answer, which is a voltage that drives the panel meter. And then I'd say, well, we know these are the two that are monitoring the voltage and the current. So I guess they're spitting their answer out into these two, which are comparing it against the references. So well, let's see. Let's disconnect the output of this op amp. Again, on the slave side. Let's power it up and see what it does. If it doesn't do anything, that tells me that these two end up in there basically. Because now I'm wondering maybe if that op amp's damaged. Because from what I'm seeing, I tested all the resistor values checked out good. All my references I've checked multiple times, and every side bump one of the pots and it goes off by like half a volt or something, but other than that, no, they're fine. all the voltage rails are still there except for those two questionable Zenas that have got a low voltage on them, but I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that. So let's see, what does it do with that disconnected. Nothing on that side. Other side still works. Interesting. Looks like we're onto something here. That's as much as it'll turn up with that op amp disconnected. In auto tracking, there's nothing there either. Oh no, yeah, it tracks off the other one. I'm going to change that op amp. I am going to change that op amp. That op amp, I think, is the one that compares the output of those other two. I'm trying not to split the boards, but I'm going to have to now because I need to trace out some more stuff. Oops. I guess at the end of the day, they're only brass pins. Fix them if they get bent. I just want to see something because I know what the these are the driver transistors, which are driven by these, which are driven by these transistors. Oh, a minute. All right, it goes to these pins. So these pins are the drive, which drives those transistors and drives the output. So these are literally just monitoring the voltage and current. And these are the voltage and current trim pots for the panel meters. So there we go. So we know there's nothing wrong on this board. So our problems are on this board here. Well, that's good. That's narrowed down some stuff for me. This is why reverse engineering takes time, but it pays off. What are these tantalums doing? They're not shorted. Do we have any shorted diodes? No. Let's check these op amps. 1 point something meg. Oh. Would you look at that? Oh, that's dropping. That was probably just a capacitor. Hold on. Yeah, okay, they're both the same. That doesn't mean that they're not screwed internally. Well, don't forget I changed the voltage op amps, which made no difference. And we can tell they're functioning anyway, so I'm going to ignore these, plus the Zenas that power them, they've got the correct voltages on them. Hey, there's a good idea. Let's trace. Oh no, I've redone that, that's right. The Zena that's got the voltage that's pulled down. goes to the voltage op amp. Well, that doesn't really go with my theory so much. Let's do a little bit more looking. The center point of our OR gate is that. Just trying to work out what this op amp in the top corner, what its function actually is. Seems to connect down here to. Oh, how curious. The inputs of the voltage op amp. And it's got board-to-board interconnects. We can work out where they go. To power and to some Zener diodes. Interesting. Okay, well, right now I can't think of anything else to do other than to take this op amp out and put a different one there. What's it hooked up as? So it's got a reference on its positive pin to ground to negative on its other pin. There is a resistor and a diode going to ground, obviously to clamp. Then that goes off to a pin that goes to the other board, right where all that OR gate business is, and the Zener comes in. So it's all tied in with that circuitry where that Zener's got the low voltage, but so are these. It's kind of weird. It does a loop-de-loop around two boards using interconnects. Well, alright, I think I'm just going to wing it and replace that op amp, hey? You gotta be kidding me. How on earth is it blocked? I haven't even used it yet. Sorry about that. Where was I over here? I don't need to remove that. I think I'll just get these components out the way by hand, it'll be a bit easier. And yes, I have gone over and checked all the transistors again since that 16 volt behavior started happening, just in case something had changed. I didn't mean for that to happen. Got a couple of TLA72s sitting here. I swear before we changed a couple. Let's pause the video. Alright, this is one of the ones that I pulled out before that I thought was bad. But we know they're good because we've replaced them. We've already ascertained that that part of the circuit's working, and changing them was a waste of time. So just leave the one I pulled out to the side there, just in case it turns out it is buggered. Sorry for lack of commentary. I've noticed when I talk when I'm soldering, I do things wrong. These old circuit boards don't have the coating that we have on boards now, so bits of solder will stick literally everywhere if you get it on the board and it's a little bit dirty. Oh yeah. Alright. Just double check I've got that the same as the other one. Yeah, we're good to go. Let's see if it's any different now. I'll just be over the moon when the other side goes back to not being stuck at 16 volts. Because all I've got to do is fix the oscillation from me putting new op amps in there, and that sort of just goes in par with the job of replacing op amps. That wasn't something that I was like, what's the word, not looking forward to having to deal with, but this, yeah, this is annoying. Alright, back in the power supply. Hey, you guys aren't going to believe this. it still goes over. That was the problem. Let's not do that, because maybe that's possibly how I fried that op amp. Yes. Okay, progress. Again, once again, we are finally getting somewhere. Now, and my multimeter probes are in the wrong way, don't worry. So, our other one, with the current all the way up and the voltage turns down, it goes all the way down. This one that goes all the way up too high, it also doesn't go all the way down unless the current's turned all the way down. But this is good. This is good news. I'll just have a quick look and see if it auto tracks. Sorry about that, my phone just ran out of storage. So as I was saying, dual tracking. 5, move set to 5. I'm going to turn the first one up to 10. $10.04, $10.12, $10.07, $10.04, $10.07, $10.06, $10.03, $10.06. Alright, can't get too much closer than that. Let's turn this up to say 25 volts on the first one. $25.03 on the second. There you go. So auto tracking is working. The first channel's working. I'll leave the current turned up 4 on both because we don't want any limiting until we sort that oscillation problem. So now we've got to work out why the voltage on this. Well, that turns up quicker than the other one, doesn't it? Yeah, so it takes less turns. Yeah. It's as if the pot's got access to the whole voltage range. Instead of the reference. It's interesting. Well, hey, I mean, the strange behavior's gone away and we're left with one problem. Like I said, the oscillation on the current circuitry, once I put those better style resistors in there and compensate the op amps that sense the constant current, we won't have a problem. And the voltage, sorry. But yeah, so that's not my concern at the moment. And I know what brings on the oscillation condition, so I'm keeping it outside of that so I don't damage it. Oh, you know what we didn't do? Measure those Zener voltages. Let's see if those Zeners that were 3.3 before now have 10 on them again. 3.2. 3.2. Interesting. Quite interesting. What happens if we turn the voltage up a bit? Nothing. That may be normal. Like I said, they're not hooked up like normal Zenas. One end of them goes to a resistor and the other end of it goes to one end of the OR gate. So my suspicion is that it's there to pull something positive under a certain condition, probably to switch the output off under a certain condition, you know? Or it might be part of the current limiting circuitry or something like that. If you get what I'm saying, it's supposed to be like that. Alright, so I'm left with one thing to work out now. Why on earth does the slave side go all the way up to 31 volts? That has me baffled. I think what we might do is we might take our focus off the boards for now. Cool. Now I can show you guys what I want to show you. This is the pot that sets the voltage for the side that's not working correctly. Yes, both the pots only have 2 wires going to them, but this one has a 3rd wire going to it. An extra wire. Now, obviously it's the slave one. So, that extra wire goes down to the what do you call it? The independent / auto tracking switch. So one wire goes to the switch, the other wire goes back to the wire loom. The switch also has these 2 resistors in some sort of fiberglass sleeving that goes to the constant current pot. Sorry if my head's in the way. Oh no, it's not. I wonder if someone's done something in here. I'm wondering if that's factory or if someone's done that. I'm just trying to make something out. If I took off an extra wire and the resistor, that would leave 1, 2, 3, 4 wires still hooked up to that switch. 2 in the bottom position, 2 in the top. But that does look like, no, that's the original wiring that came with the unit. I don't think it's something in there that's wrong actually. Tell you what, this is a bloody tricky one. I guess we're back here then. So, right, well, as we have been thinking logically and making progress, let's just continue to do that, right? So, starting question, we know voltage is coming and getting monitored here. So it's coming in here, getting monitored here. And it's somehow going out here, but it's also going through here. I guess getting compared against a reference. So that's weird because they're using the same reference for the current and the voltage. I don't know. This one's a strange one. So the thing is, you've got to remember when the original op amps were in there, it already had this problem where one side the voltage would go up too high. There's got to be something I'm missing. But I just really can't think what it could be. I do know that the master side has one less pin than the slave side. And the extra pin goes to the ribbon connector. Specifically, the red wire with no stripe on it, which goes how interesting. Guess where it goes? It goes to the pot that controls the voltage on the slave unit. Why do I just get the feeling that something's wrong with the wiring on this, and these boards are actually fixed now? I just have this weird feeling, eh? And I'll tell you, my gut instinct's quite usually right. Tell you what, let's take off the wire that goes from the independent / auto tracking switch to the pot, just leaving the same two wires on the pot like what's on the other side. And hey, get out of here, stop playing with that. I don't need to worry about moving those resistors, I guess, because they are on the top, so they only come to play when it's in auto tracking. Stop! Get out! But the other wire, it goes to the middle of the pot, so no matter where it is, the switch, sorry, this pot has got a wire on it that carries current. Also, I noticed that the plastic here on these wires is a little bit mangled. It's like these wires have been taken off before and then put back on. I'm just sliding a piece of heat shrink over this wire temporarily. I'll put these boards back together and leave them back together for probably a while now, because the compensation stuff that I need to add is going to get done on the bottom of the boards, and I'm starting to get suspicious of the front panel wiring, specifically the series auto tracking part. I wouldn't be surprised if, because I mean I can see that someone's pulled this apart and done heaps of random stuff to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone gave up trying to fix it. You know, like say the right channel didn't work anymore, and they just soldered a couple wires in a different spot so that it produces something but it's not regulated or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm not that sort of dodgy person, as you can see. I won't give up until it's functioning as intended, or better in this case. But like a lot of people do stuff like that, so that could be what's going on here. And don't forget, we still have this solder tag right here, of all the tags. That's clean, but that's got solder on it. And that coming from factory, someone may have put a wire there in factory, realised it was on the wrong lug, and then moved it one lug down, you know. Also, there could be a missing wire in here that someone's cut. You know, so there are questions to be asked. That's the annoying thing about this. I don't have a schematic diagram. I don't know its history. I just have to work it out, you know. So I've got it in independent mode. No way. Oh. So with that red wire disconnected, it doesn't do anything. Wait, that doesn't make sense, because that red wire just goes to the middle lug on the independent / auto tracking switch. Now you know what? I want to know what voltage is present on that wire that I just took off. Let's check it in reference to say negative 5.4 volts. Just comparing this to the other pot. What's the voltage across the pot? Voltage across the pot is the voltage the power supply is turned up to. I'm going to turn it off for a sec. I'm just going to solder that red wire back on and then see what the voltage on this pot is. I have a feeling I already know the answer. It's going to be whatever it's turned up to and all the way up to 54 volts or whatever, but it's just the thing about reverse engineering. It's got to be done. Yeah, same voltage. The voltage on the pot's the voltage it turns up to. So if I turn it just a tad above 30, yeah. I've got to say this is really interesting. Well, I can't even remember if this side supplies current or not. I do know I've got to turn the voltage up a little bit, so it doesn't go into oscillation and I don't damage a part. Hey, this was only going up to 0.3 before. Well, let's not do that. Oh, oscillation. I just want to leave the current on both of them dialed up at 1 amp. We'll work out how to calibrate that later. That may just be out going a bit too high on both because, like I said, there's some oscillation, and that would cause an effect like that. Oh, I better stop doing that. No. Alright. So that is a really strange problem. I mean, everything's working. This side's actually supplying power now. It wasn't doing that before. It would only supply power at a certain voltage when the voltage was turned down. And then it would only go up to 300 milliamps. I don't know if anyone remembers seeing that or not. So both sides, I'll leave that there. Both sides are supplying constant current. The auto tracking works perfectly now. The left-hand supply works perfectly. The displays are calibrated. But the right-hand side still goes up too high. I just can't understand that. I think what I'm going to do, because it's late me and tired, and I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, it's literally fixed bar one problem now. One. I'm going to just go do a lot of research and see if I can find anything on this supply, like circuit diagram wise, or maybe I might be able to find, say, supplies that are built on the same topology and get a circuit diagram for one of those and see what I'm missing. But next to that, I mean, the only other thing we can do really is we can trace the voltage plot back, see where it goes to, and see how they're obtaining their reference or what they're comparing the voltage to on that op amp. And then, because that's where our problem's going to be. Something's too high there, or it's a complete zero, one of the two. It just depends how they're comparing it, basically. Using a non-inverting technique or an inverting technique means you're going to be comparing a voltage against basically something that's referenced to ground or something that's referenced to a high voltage. Now, what I'm saying is either a voltage has dropped to zero or a certain voltage has increased. And we have to find where that is in the circuit, because it's either that or, like I said, someone's, lost one channel and then just maybe bypassed the reference or something and just hooked it. Hey, you know what? It's interesting it does turn up all the way, hey? Considering it's op amp based. I'm going to do some research and do a little bit more looking into it, and I won't make another video until I have come up with something on this whole too high voltage on one side thing. But the good news is, if I wanted to use this for a job, I can actually use it because it works independently. I've got perfect control of voltage, and actually I still got to fix the current oscillation. It's actually got two small problems, but it's almost usable. So I'm not too far away. That's given me a bit more motivation. I was starting to lose motivation. When things started getting worse, I was just like, oh, really? But now I've knocked out that 16 volt limit problem. I'm feeling quite good about myself, so I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to get the channel to grow, and I appreciate all the help that I can get. God, I'm getting tired, I can't even talk. Alright, see you guys.